Hey there. Want to supercharge what you know about a really cool job?
Oh, yeah. What is it?
Well, we are going to take a deep dive into Mechatronics Assembly today. Man,
Mechatronics.
we're like, mechanical engineering meets electronics and computer science, all that.
It's like the perfect blend for where everything's going with smart tech. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
And we've got some really awesome info from RoleCatcher,
Yeah.
their career platform. So we're talking real insider stuff like what the job really is, how to get into it, even how AI can give you a boost when you're job hunting.
No kidding. AI for jobs. That's got to be helpful.
Yeah. So are you ready to decode this whole mechatronics assembly thing?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's break it down. So what does a mechatronics assembler even do?
Okay, so picture this. You're building a robot, right? But not just like slapping the parts together. You're wiring it up with sensors, motors, and then get this, you're putting in the software that makes the whole thing move. That's kind of the core of what they do. They're like the link between the mechanical stuff, the electrical stuff, and all the electronic brains.
Wow, that's wild. So it's not just your typical assembly line, huh?
Nope, not at all.
The Rollcatcher guide really showed how many different places need these skills.
Oh, for sure.
It's not just factories now, right?
Think about smart homes, that's all mechatronics.
Oh, yeah.
They're needed like everywhere, manufacturing, aerospace, even medical stuff.
So they're basically, what, building the future one circuit board at a time?
You got it. And
Yeah.
the cool thing is it changes as you get more experience. The RoleCatcher guide laid out the different career stages really well. So you start entry level, doing the hands-on stuff, putting things together, installing software. But later on, imagine you got to figure out why a robot arm on like a production line just stopped working. Right, that's the kind of problem a mechatronics assembler solves when they're more senior.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility.
Mm,
And the guide really made it clear that there are a lot of different paths a mechatronics assembler's career can take.
definitely, yeah.
It's not just about climbing the same old ladder, is it?
You can totally specialize, like get really into robotics or those big automation systems, or even a very specific type of machine. And that deep knowledge, that makes you super valuable because things change so fast in this field.
That's awesome. It's like you're choosing your own adventure, but for your job.
Exactly.
So let's say someone's listening and thinking, okay, this sounds incredible. How do I even start?
Yeah.
What are the ways to get into mechatronics assembly? The guide said it's not always a 4-year degree, right?
Not at all. A bachelor's is great, yeah. But there are other ways, like the guide talked about technical programs, certifications, apprenticeships. Those can be a direct route in.
So it's about getting that hands-on experience.
Yeah, hands-on is key.
Makes sense. But let's be real for a sec. The job market can be brutal. This is where I was like, whoa, when I read about RoleCatcher's AI job search stuff.
AI for job searching. Tell me more.
It's like having a secret weapon, right?
Kind of. Imagine this. A program that analyzes tons of job descriptions, figures out what skills you need, and even helps you make your resume better. That's the power of AI.
Wow, that's wild. It's like having your own personal job recruiter, but it's AI.
Right. It's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know it can help with the job hunt, but let's get into the actual work. What's it like being a mechatronics assembler day to day?
It's definitely not your average desk job.
I bet.
Think hands-on, but with high-tech stuff. Imagine you're on a factory floor, right? But instead of just products, you're surrounded by all these cool components like robot arms, sensors, control panels, all that. It's about putting those pieces together like a giant tech puzzle.
That does sound way more interesting than just tightening the same bolt a million times.
You got it. One day you might be using these really precise tools to build the frame of a robot. Then the next you're wiring up all the sensors and stuff. It's about using your hands, but also knowing how electronics and mechanics work together.
It's like a blend of craftsmanship and high tech.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can't forget about the software side of things. The guide talked a lot about that too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like you build the body, now you got to give it a brain.
Yeah.
So you might be installing software, making sure sensors are reading right, even figuring out why some code isn't working.
So you're not just building something, you're kind of bringing it to life.
Exactly. And when you see something complex actually working because of you, that's really rewarding. But it's not always smooth sailing. Got to be ready for when things go wrong.
Oh, I bet. What happens when a sensor breaks or a robot arm just stops?
Then you got to put on your detective hat.
Time to solve a mystery.
Right. You use diagnostic tools, read those crazy electrical diagrams, and rely on your knowledge to figure out what's up.
So you need that problem-solving brain, even if you're not writing code from scratch.
Absolutely. It's a constant learning process. And speaking of learning, RoleCatcher's guide did a really good job of showing what the different experience levels look like.
Let's break that down. What can someone totally new to mechatronics expect when they're starting out?
Well, at the entry level, it's all about the basics. You'd probably be working with more experienced people, learning how to put the simpler stuff together, understanding the electrical diagrams, getting familiar with the software they use, like an apprenticeship.
Yeah, gotta learn the ropes before you can build the robot.
Exactly. Then, as you become a junior assembler, you get more responsibility. You might build whole sections on your own, fix easier problems, maybe even help with the regular maintenance.
So you're building your skills and your confidence.
For sure. Then, as you get even better and become intermediate, you might even lead small teams, take on bigger projects, and even work with engineers to make the designs better.
So you're not just following directions anymore, you're actually part of the design process.
That's when it gets really cool. And finally, you reach the top. Senior Mechatronics Assembler.
The experts.
They've seen everything, they can fix anything, they run whole projects, teach the newer assemblers, and everyone goes to them for the really tough problems.
They work their way up from beginner to, like, master builder.
Exactly. And it all starts with that curiosity, that love for figuring out how things work.
Totally. But it's not enough just to have those skills these days. The job market is tough. That's where RoleCatcher comes in again.
Yeah, you need a way to stand out.
So how does their AI actually help you compete in a field like this?
Think of it this way. Regular job boards are like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Ooh, I feel that.
But with RoleCatcher, their system takes your resume, analyzes it, and matches you with jobs that actually fit what you can do. It's like having a personal assistant for your job hunt.
So instead of me searching for the right job,
The job finds you.
that's a game changer.
It is. But it's more than just matching keywords. It gets what your skills really mean and understands the job descriptions on a deeper level.
So it actually knows if you're a good fit.
Yeah, like having an actual recruiter picking things just for you. And get this, it can even compare your resume to specific job postings and tell you what to improve.
Whoa, that's amazing. Way better than just getting some generic advice online.
Right. But it gets better. Remember how we talked about cover letters? Ugh,
The worst part of applying for anything.
I know. But RoleCatcher can actually help with those, too. It takes the job description, your resume, and suggests what to put in your cover letter so you're highlighting the right stuff for the people hiring.
So it's like having a professional resume writer, but without the cost.
Exactly. But wait, there's more. Remember how important we said interviews are?
For everything. That's when you really got to sell yourself.
Exactly. And guess what? RoleCatcher has this AI tool for interview prep that's seriously impressive.
All right, now you got to tell me more about this.
Imagine having access to, like, thousands of possible interview questions, all specific to the jobs you actually want. And their AI can even do mock interviews with you and tell you how you're doing.
That's incredible. It's like having a practice run before the big game.
It really is.
But hold on, with all this AI and automation stuff, is there a chance mechatronics assemblers will be replaced by, well, robots themselves?
That's a question a lot of people have, and it's a good one. I mean, yeah, automation is changing a ton of industries, including manufacturing, but it's not as simple as robots taking over.
So it's not like in the movies where the robots do everything.
Not exactly. Robots are great at the same task over and over in a controlled environment, but they can't adapt or solve problems or think critically like people can.
So mechatronics assemblers, they're still going to be super important.
Absolutely. If anything, we'll need more skilled assemblers as automation gets more complex. Think about it, who's going to build, program, maintain, and fix all those robots?
That's a really good point. It's
Yeah.
not about robots versus people. It's more like robots and people working together.
Exactly. And that's where Mechatronics Assemblers come in. They've got that perfect mix of technical skills, that problem-solving ability, and that adaptability that's going to be so important as we move forward with more and more technology.
So it's not robots taking over. It's more like we're all in this together.
Exactly. Got to work smarter, right? And speaking of smarter, have you heard of this Industry 4.0 thing?
I think so, but it kind of sounds like a sci-fi movie, to be honest.
It kind of is in a cool way. Imagine factories where everything's connected, machines talking to each other, making decisions right there on the spot.
Whoa.
Yeah, robots that diagnose their own problems, systems that tell you when they need fixing before they even break down, all that crazy stuff. It's all about connecting the real world with all the digital stuff.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. But what about the people? Where do mechatronics assemblers fit into all of that?
They're the ones making it all work. This Industry 4.0, it needs people who don't just know the hardware, but the software too. They got to get data analytics, cloud computing, all that stuff.
So it's like they're building the digital brains for the physical world.
Exactly. And speaking of digital brains, we can't forget about AI. That's another big deal changing mechatronics. Robots that learn as they go, systems that can predict problems before they even happen, crazy stuff.
So they're not just building things, they're building things that are constantly getting smarter.
You got it. It's like teaching a robot to be a better robot. And hey, don't forget about renewable energy.
Oh, right. So important.
We're moving towards a greener future, right? So we need people who can build all that new tech, those solar panels, wind turbines, and make sure they run right.
So Mechatronics Assemblers could be building the stuff that powers our homes in the future.
Totally. Making sure it's all running smoothly. And that's just one example. What about medical tech? That's another huge area.
Right, with all the cool new prosthetics and stuff.
Exactly. Mechatronics is a part of all that. It's a field with like endless possibilities, you know?
It sounds like it. So you don't have to be like a coding whiz or a mechanical genius to get into this.
Nope. There are tons of ways in. Technical schools, apprenticeships, you can even find courses online these days.
That's really cool. It sounds like there's a place for anyone who's curious and wants to learn.
Exactly. You just need that curiosity, that drive to figure out how things work and to be a part of something big, you know?
Yeah, totally. I think that's a great takeaway. If you're the kind of person who likes getting their hands dirty, but also wants to be at the forefront of technology, then Mechatronics Assembly might be the perfect fit.
I think so too.
You could be the one building the next cool robot, designing the future of energy, even creating something that helps people live better lives.
It's all out there. The future is waiting to be built.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of Mechatronics Assembly. Huge thanks to our expert for all these awesome insights. This was really cool.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
To everyone listening, we hope you learned something new today and are maybe even a little inspired. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop asking, how does that work? Now, that's how the best stuff gets created.